Hello, everybody. Welcome to another WXR. Today, we are going to be having another interview with one of the XPOund members. And this week, we have the WXR roulette wheel that we are going to spin. Just kidding. We are going to do Marcus Shadow. So, as we did in the other ones, we're kind of just throw out some questions, get some answers from him about wrestling, and kind of learn a little bit more about him. All the wrestlers he likes, his impressions of various things. So,
Whoa! You're gonna do me? What is this, WXR porn edition?
damn right. Now, what do you think the X is for in WXR?
My God, it's going to be a slobber knocker.
He's whipping up like a government mule.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that costs extra though. But so as you may have heard, joining us is James Phoenix,
Hello, everybody.
Chriz aka The Mole,
Hello.
the Queen of Hearts,
Hey.
sometimes the Fallen Angel.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. And I, of course, am Richter Hammer, and Marcus is here. Otherwise, it'd be a really strange interview to interview him when he's not here. Maybe we'll do that next time.
I know it works with TMZ.
Oh.
So, oh man, we should. Never mind. So, I'll start it off with a rather easy question. So, why don't you tell us when you got into wrestling, or why either?
Well, the why is you. You got me into wrestling. And I got into it basically when I went to college. The year I went to college, and that's when actually I met Richter. We went to the same university for a year, and he was, we had the mutual interest of anime and video games. He's like, dude, you got to check this out. I was like, okay, it's people beating each other up, fine. And then I watched it, and I was like, hey, this is kind of entertaining, and that's kind of how I got into it. So we had our weekly ritual of I would go over to his dorm, and we'd go into the common room and attempt to watch WWE. Sometimes that would kind of fail, as other people in his dorm would come in and just rudely switch it to WCW.
Well, the TV was up in the corner for everyone that cares, and there was a guy who had a similar TV, so his remote actually worked on it. So he would just sit back and just change between the two as he felt like it.
Douche.
Yeah.
But yes, that's how I got into wrestling, to WWF at the time, and haven't looked back. Anybody else?
I would ask a question. I would say, which may be a weird question or not, I don't know, but after we were discussing the untimely, or I want to say demise of the Ultimate Warrior, and we were saying both me and you were a little surprised by it, but not overly surprised. Which wrestler's death has surprised you the most in recent years, or any years, and why? And you can obviously say he who shall not be named. I don't mind.
Actually, the one that surprised me the most was Owen Hart, simply because it really was unexpected. It was just in the middle of the performance, just boom, snap, dead, and you're just like, oh my god. And yes, I actually did see that pay-per-view in.
Oh, did you? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that pay-per-view.
It was during that time, Richter, and yeah.
I will say I'm glad the comments.
Uh-oh.
It's still almost depressing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Do you have an absolute favorite wrestler, like either just like wrestler or diva?
Wrestler.
Or diva?
My absolute favorite wrestler of all time is the Great One, The Rock. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. Diva. And there's been so many great divas. My favorite diva of all time probably has to be Trish.
You sure it wasn't Vicky? Are you sure it wasn't Vicky Guerrera?
Rest in peace, Eddie. But I don't know how the hell you ever did that, essay.
For those of you out there who are wondering what we're talking about, this is just an inside joke that we were coming up with before recording this.
I still like to think of the idea of a bed. He has like a diving board, like a Naked Gun, and he did a fucking frog splash right into her. That's how I imagine that going down.
So you mean he did a true 5-star frog splash?
Yes.
Hey Vicky, want to meet the three amigos? Oh man. Do you have a favorite tag team or stable as opposed to just wrestler?
Well, my favorite stable is D-Generation X, as you well know, because I believe DX is your favorite tag team as well, because you're the one that got me into them. Or not tag team, but stable. My favorite tag team of all time, as I believe I stated in the awards show a few weeks back, is the Hardy Boys, because while they, let's be honest, they sucked on the mic. They had no mic skills. They couldn't talk their way out of a paper bag, but they were so much fun to watch in the ring. And as I can't remember who talked about it a little while back, one of the wrestlers did, but they were kind of the quote old guard unquote, where they had the uncanny ability to actually tell a story in the ring with their actions, which is why they didn't need mic skill, because they were just that good when they weren't high or drunk.
To be fair, they also didn't need mic skills because they had Michael Hayes.
Well, I mean, even after Michael Hayes went and retired and disappeared,
they had Lita.
she never spoke. She spoke when she did her diva stuff. And speaking of another diva that's really awesome, just recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame, which I think she deserves. Yeah, Lita's awesome. But yeah, Team Extreme, definitely favorite tag team. Because you never knew what they were going to do, especially, because they came up in the Attitude Era. So it's the era of weapons and innovation with weaponry and stuff. You throw them in the ring, give them a bunch of weapons, and say do shit, and you never know what they're going to do.
Well, I remember a lot of times with them, like whenever Jeff would climb something, and you're just like, I know what he's going to do. I gotta see it though.
Yeah, pretty
you're
much.
Like, I can't believe he's gonna jump out, and he does it, and you're like, how is he not dead? I don't understand.
Because the drugs numb the pain.
That's probably true.
It's probably a little tip he got from RVD.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, you want to know my secret about how I don't fuck myself up, man? Here, take a shot of this.
That's his secret.
That's right.
He's always high.
Okay,
Any other questions?
I believe it would be Mr. Phoenix next with a question.
Yeah, I don't think I've gone yet. Let's see. All right, Marcus Shadow. Well, let's ask you this here. Based on when you started watching, at what point between then and now do you think that the WWE or wrestling in general was at its best? Do you think it was the Attitude Era when you started? Do you think it was like that middle era, more current? What do you think?
When do I think it was at its best?
But of when you were watching, what was your favorite point at which you were watching wrestling? For me personally, I always feel like it's right just after the Attitude Era ended, right after the brand split. Ric Flair was on a Raw, Vince running SmackDown. I like that period of time.
I would say shortly after the Invasion, because they had to get things going with the Invasion, and then it sucked. But then after that, I think is when it was at its best, because that's when with the influx of the WCW and ECW superstars, you had an influx of actual talent of people who could wrestle, because you got, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, fucking Taz, Kurt Angle.
All of whom were me. No, Kurt Angle's WWE.
I know, no, but I'm saying he came in around that time.
Yeah, but not from WCW.
No, but I'm just saying you had an influx of talent, a lot of them from WCW and ECW, but from other places. But you got that influx of actual pure talent. You got like Billy Kidman. You got people who could not only be flashy but could also be technical and could tell those stories in the ring and look good in the ring. And a lot of them had really good mic skills too. I mean,
Although I would point out Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko came in with Perry Saturn and Eddie Guerrero before the Invasion.
Ah, fair enough.
Because that was right after Chris Benoit won the WCW title. And then they instantly had to fucking say, oh shit, and find a loophole because he jumped ship.
Ah, fair enough. Oh, I thought they came over with when they bought WCW. My bad. It's been a while.
Yeah. That was the same way that WCW got screwed over when they lost the freaking NWA title, and they had to make up some bullshit new title that the guy was supposedly carrying because they filmed the thing like 2 months in advance, and they had to bullshit their way around it for a month until they could merge the titles in.
To be fair, the Chris Benoit thing, they kind of actually found an excuse for it. I think it was either his foot or his arm, one of which happened to be underneath the rope when he won. So it was like, okay, the foot was under the rope, it didn't count, Sid's still champion.
There you go.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think that's when it was at best because WWF had always had talent, but their whole thing, like we've said on many occasions, was the Attitude Era. It was about hardcore. It was about brawling mostly, and roughhousing, and they had some technical, but it was mostly the like Stone Cold and The Rock, who was immensely talented, but during that time was again more of the kind of grappler / brawler, not much of an actual wrestler. But then with the influx of talent that steadily came in over like shortly before the sale and through the course of the sales of ECW and WCW, you got actual talent. And I think that kind of forced the existing WWF talent to actually step up their game a little bit and to show that, they in fact had talent as well. And I think it made it better. But then shortly after that, everything kind of went to shit. That was my favorite time anyway, of the time that I watched.
Fair enough.
Anyone else? Fallen Angel. You've been silent. And he's still
favorite theme song?
Favorite theme song? You mean like a wrestler theme?
Yes.
Oh, that's tough. Cult of Personality is good. I really do like that theme song. My favorite theme song. I don't know. That's tough. I have to say I really, really did like Kid Rock's American Badass for The Undertaker. Part of that might be because of the way they debuted him, because that has to be one of the greatest debuts I've ever seen.
Fair enough.
Did you see that, Richter, the Taker's debut as American Badass? Or was that after you stopped watching pay-per-views?
I've seen it since. I wasn't watching at that point, but I have seen it since.
I love that Titantron.
That was really cool.
With the girls, that creeped me the hell out. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And I am an American Badass. I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Who the hell is this? And then Taker comes running out. I'm like, oh shit, it's The Undertaker.
Oh, come on, Rick. Why wouldn't you have watched that? That was just right bang in the middle of the McMahon-Helmsley era, which was so good they've done it twice.
I know. It was my favorite time.
You watched and you're like, oh my god, I'm never going to see anything as good as this again, so you tuned out just to be cautious.
Yes.
So you didn't become cynical.
Yeah. I also broke my TV because I knew it'd never get better.
Yes.
I also do have to say another theme song I really, really liked was Taz's theme song. his WWE one.
That was pretty cool. And I would say out of the wrestlers or superstars that we've seen in recent years and stuff like, or since you've been watching, I should say, who do you think's had the most squandered potential?
The most squandered potential.
Yep, like WWE just completely wasted that guy.
Santino Marella.
I can agree with that.
Because when he debuted, he was fucking awesome. And then they made him basically the comedy relief and allowed him to fatten up. And I'm just like, oh, you have this relatively short, built Italian dude with fucking tattoos, with wrestling. He can wrestle. Use him. Come on, he writes himself.
Yeah, but they already got rid of the full-blooded Italians.
Wow.
Yeah, Santino has to be up there for me of squandered talent because I really liked him when he debuted. And I was like, wow, I want to see where this guy can go. And then they just didn't use him. And I was like, oh. You know, I want to go back to theme songs really quick because for divas, I didn't do any divas. But my favorite diva theme song of all time, I have not heard a better theme song before or since, has to be All the Things She Said by Tattoo. That song is amazing. And with the gimmick that Victoria had, it was brilliant.
And I'm going to say, wait a minute, I just want to say, this diva has the best theme song of all time. When did you steal Kanye West's gimmick?
Since now.
Who better than Kanye?
Marcus is a gay fish.
Yeah, another one for squandered potential. I can't remember his name. The Zach Gowen. That guy was incredible.
Oh yeah, the one-legged dude.
Yeah, he was incredible. He was one of the best, one of the best high flyers and a decent wrestler in his own right that I had seen in years up to that point. And they did some decent stuff with him, but they didn't use him on that much, and he didn't have that long a run before they wrote him off TV. And I'm like, come on, he's the underdog story for this guy writes itself, and he's got the talent to pull it off. Really?
You have to admit, Brock Lesnar F5 and him and breaking his other leg, hilarious. One of the best skits WWE's done.
To a point, yeah. I still think they did it too early, and like I said, squandered potential.
Yeah, it may have just been me that was like, when I saw it, it may have just been a sick side of me, but I was like, ha, ironic.
And I'll end the squandered potential on the diva side. Gail Kim, they just never knew what to do with her, how to use her right. And I've seen her in TNA and in WWE, and she is really, really good. And I'm not saying that just because she's Asian, but she is really good, and it just saddened me that WWE never actually used her. Like, they gave her this title a couple times, but to me it felt like they did that because they felt they quote had to unquote, and I'm like, no, give her the title and actually have her defend it and wrestle. And no, it's like they never really wanted to use her, and that made me sad.
I could kind of agree with that. I think part of it as well may be Gail Kim herself, and I don't mean any bad things by that, but WWE, every time they brought her back and they want to push her in a huge way, she'd get into a matchup and then be completely sloppy in the match. And it's like, every time there's the big one, she chokes. But when she's in like TNA and you see her, unbelievable. She is one of the best divas wrestlers. But
yes.
The second WWE tried to shine that spotlight on her, she fucked up. Which that's almost a shame.
Yeah, it is. Oh, and another one for squandered potential.
Yoshitatsu, because he's also Asian.
Yep. Another diva who I thought was an incredible talent, and I was really looking forward to seeing how they were going to use her, and they really didn't. Nydia. She was really, really good, and yeah, they did fuck all with her.
Yeah, she was good. Although part of me's trying not to laugh right now. The way he built it up, I don't know why. I was expecting him to say Awesome Kong or whatever the hell she was called.
Oh, Karma.
Karma, that was it. I forgot a WWE name. I was honestly expecting him to say Karma, like WWE's the one that got her pregnant.
No. I would love to see some more with her because I think having, the tall, like kind of Big Show-esque diva could go a long way toward kind of rejuvenating the Divas division, if that makes sense, because it would give them some other things that they could do in terms of story that they kind of can't do with the current Divas division that they have, where all the girls are about the same size. But probably not going to happen.
Yep, and I think we all agree the Big Show, the Divas division, Nicole Bass.
Oh, good lord.
I like the fact that whenever I mention them and like the full-blooded talent of Richter, Victor, like wow, and, oh my god, like how can you keep mentioning these?
I'm like, wow, you remember them?
I remember that dude who appeared on SmackDown for one night that we discussed.
That's true. I keep expecting you to bring up Spike Dudley now.
Oh, poor Spike Dudley.
Indeed.
What
Anybody
was
else?
the most shocking? What in the
I think what she's trying to ask you is, what was your biggest oh my god moment in wrestling that shocked you the most?
well, I was going with pay-per-view, but okay.
Okay, pay-per-view, sure, whatever.
Jim, that's why you don't interrupt people.
Yeah, you got
Schooled,
boy.
Canadaized. Canadaized.
You got schooled, eh?
Jim's
I'm
crying.
not your buddy guy.
So you want to know what I thought was the most shocking pay-per-view moment?
Mm-hmm. It's well, I mean, everybody probably pretty much agrees that right now, as is this moment, might be that the Undertaker's streak is over. But I mean, other than that, what other moment would you consider being the most shocking?
I'd probably go back to what I said earlier, Owen's death.
I thought you were going to say Linda's bald spot.
I was expecting Screwjob.
I never actually saw it. That was before I started watching.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, Linda's bald spot was kind of shocking. I was like, wow, wasn't expecting that. I also wasn't expecting Bischoff to be so damn tall.
What about the Extreme Chamber? That was shocking. I still wish they'd bring that concept back. That's wasted potential right there. That was an awesome concept. Wrong people.
What about John Cena getting choked and slammed into a giant spotlight? That was shocking.
What about Goldust being electrified and getting Tourette's?
Yes. That was awesome.
That was shocking. So everybody would keep saying. I'll go along with you guys. That was shocking.
Yeah, but no, it'd have to be Owen's death. I mean, you can't get much more shocking than someone actually dying in the middle of the event because of an accident.
I don't know. What about all those times Cena overcame the odds? All those times Daniel Bryan overcame the odds. It was shocking. I mean, come on, they're the underdogs.
If I had to go with a shocking Cena moment, it would have to be when he lost to The Rock.
I thought he took the title off him. I'll have to go back and watch. I'm kidding. I'm being a douche. I'm kidding.
Compared to you mean?
How about what Jim asked about OMGs?
Biggest OMG moment. That's tough. I do have to say, as much as I don't like them, fucking Ryback spearing Cena through the fucking set into the backstage was pretty OMG. Let's see what else. Pretty much anytime there was like a fucking ladder match, and some high flyer, usually Jeff Hardy, going up top and doing something nuts. Those were almost always OMGs.
See, I'll tell you something I always love with ladder matches. I always love it when you get the high flyer versus the super heavyweight. Because it's like the ladder is designed for both men. Like Undertaker v Jeff Hardy was fucking great. I'm not a Jeff Hardy fan, as people know, but oh my god, that was fucking unbelievable. It's like even Sheamus powerbombing Sin Cara through the fucking ladder and breaking it. It was like, whoa! When at the same time you get the high flyers jumping off shit. It's so fucking perfect.
Yep. I will have to say there is one moment. I don't know if it'd be really classified as an OMG moment, but it was. I guess it'd be like it was a holy shit moment that has never been replicated since, and I don't think it can because it's like lightning striking. It was Shelton Benjamin running up the ladder and doing the clothesline. Just no one had ever done that, and you're just like, did he just? Wow.
Favorite wrestling video game?
Favorite wrestling video game? Probably go with. Oh, I can't remember which one had it. Was it? I think it was Here Comes the Pain, the one that allows you to create your own animations. It's either Here Comes the Pain or Shut Your Mouth. I can't remember which one it is.
A couple of them had. If you're on about Create a Taunt, a few of them had that early on.
Well, it was more than Create a Taunt. It was Create an Animation because it was back when they had stance animations, so you could literally create like your own fighting stance. Which was kind of awesome, and then you could translate those into taunts and stuff. And then the really cool thing is not only were you able to basically make custom taunts, but then that was also during the time where you could choose taunts as part of your entrance. So, like for instance, on your stage, you could have your superstar come out and do a taunt on the stage, and so literally you could create your taunt and then have them do your custom taunt in your entrance, which I thought was awesome.
Nice. I will also say, marry, fuck, kill. Nicole Bass, Mae Young, Vicky Guerrero. Go.
Ouch.
I'm kidding. The other question I'd ask
Nicole Bass, Vicky Guerrero.
Yeah, I would say since I know you've watched a lot of other stuff to do with wrestling, if that makes sense, because it's not just wrestling itself. What would you say was your favorite TV show or movie that was based around a plot to do with professional wrestling?
Maybe a TV show. Wow, that's tough because there's actually two.
Is one of them Thunder in Paradise? Please be Thunder in Paradise.
It wasn't based around wrestling.
There was an episode where he did have to wrestle like Ric Flair for something.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was probably for an orphanage. That was an 80s show in the 90s.
Yep. I always love it when you get like wrestlers appearing on TV shows and it's completely stupid. Like the episode of Charmed where the Charmed sisters take out like fucking Scott Steiner and shit. Like, no, stop this now.
It would either have to be the one we just saw, the Scooby-Doo WrestleMania, because that was awesome. Which the review will be out shortly, so keep an eye out for that, people. And either that or what's the name of it? That Monsters one with Kevin Nash and Jimmy Hart.
Monster Brawl.
Monster Brawl. Yeah, that movie was awesome.
I'm gonna say
you can check the review out on Showtime in the X-Pound.
I will say I was surprised by those answers. I was sitting back thinking, okay, this is gonna let people think of an answer when it gives Jeff enough. It gives Marcus enough time to say Ultimate Muscle and the Wrestler. But he actually had the other two, which are both awesome.
The Wrestler was a good movie, I'll admit. I did actually see that now that you mention it. I guess it's good. It's a good movie if you want something slightly more documentary-esque, if you will, because it's kind of based on it's totally based on real life wrestling, but to that end, it's kind of sad.
Or kind of happy, depending on how you interpret the ending.
True.
Personally, I prefer the depressing ending.
But yeah, I like those other two because they were just fun, and it was, it's another aspect of the wrestling. It's the fun side of it, which you don't see a lot of in quote unquote mainstream media.
And I can agree with that. Now, I look forward to when we interview Richter and I ask him the same question and get Thunder Lips as an answer.
Okay, do you have a favorite superstar or diva debut?
Ooh, debut. And you're talking about first time debut, not like repackaging debut like The Undertaker, right?
You could do either, or if you really want to, both. But I was thinking, yeah, it's like a return could count if you want, but either or.
Yeah, it's the Simon of questions. Go both ways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what debuts I've actually seen.
And obviously for debut, it can be on a particular program, so it doesn't have to be like, oh, well, this person already debuted on TNA, but like it can count if they jump ship or whatever.
I have to say one debut I really did like, and it was a more recent one, is the Wyatt family. I really liked their debut.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it made like half no sense whatsoever, it's still just the way they did it, and the way that Bray Wyatt spoke, and the way he did the character. Just the debut worked.
Based on their gimmick, the fact it doesn't make sense makes complete sense.
True.
Because of how insane they are. It works. It's like if you see Joker do something that doesn't make sense, it works.
And as I said earlier, Undertaker's return as American Badass is probably my favorite return of all time. Just because you knew he was coming back, but you didn't know, everyone assumed he was coming back as like Dark Side Taker, and then you get this, and it's just like, wait, what? But it was awesome. Debut. Diva debut. I have to say, Santino's debut was awesome. Again, squandered potential, but I liked his debut. Because he came out and won, was it the Intercontinental title, I think? I think he took that off of, was it off of Umaga or something like that, if I recall? With like help from, I think it was like help from Batista or some shit. But it was pretty cool. I like that. Oh, I think this is the answer you were looking for, Richter. Favorite debut of all time.
I wasn't looking for a specific answer, if that's what you're thinking.
I'm surprised because I think this is right up there on your list too, but my favorite debut of all time, Chris Jericho. I love that debut. Only
yes,
because...
if asked a similar question during my interview, that would probably be my answer.
It wouldn't be what I typed below of Shockmaster.
There's that too. But yeah.
That was his favorite finishing move. Because that guy was done. He killed that gimmick.
Huh. There you go. But yeah, I really like Jericho's debut. If only, and the thing is, I like it because it's probably one of my favorite, if not my all-time favorite Rock moment. But thinking back on it, it also set basically the precedent for how Jericho was going to define his character. It defined the character of Jericho, which worked beautifully as a debut.
That was awesome. And I will say that's something that kind of makes me giggle now. Have any of you gone back and watched that recently?
A couple months ago.
Yeah.
I went back and rewatched that recently. I forgot how bad the microphones were in the early Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And suddenly the Rock has gone from being like, I'm the Rock, to, yeah, the Rock says. It's like he was voiced by Mark Henry or something. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, I always remember it just because when Triple H one time I think he was feuding with Vince, and he yelled out, and he's like, "And how about you use some of your billions to buy microphones that work?" And then slams it down. And I was like, that's probably why they don't work.
Yeah.
Yep, because they're always recycling microphones. I mean, CM Punk dropped that microphone for Pipe Bomb. And how many months or so was it afterwards? Suddenly Batista didn't have a microphone that worked. Coincidence?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was a coincidence. But I'd like to think it wasn't.
Has there ever been a disappointing moment?
Yeah, John Cena.
Heyo.
Zynga.
One of the biggest disappointing moments for me probably was the walkout in recent years here, because that had such potential, and the way they were going with it, I was like, okay, this is going to be something pretty good, because they seem to be taking it in a direction, and it's not something we've really seen before. And then they copped out, and I was like, "Aww." It's like it's like the corporate billions put them into a submission hold, and they had no choice but to tap for money.
Yeah, that was sort of like on TV when you see like the season final and everyone's been shot dead, and then suddenly they've got a new season, so suddenly everyone goes, "Oh yeah, I'm okay."
It was all a dream.
Yeah, like literally, next episode, everyone walks it, which was almost worth it for, was it Heath Slater's hat?
Ah. But yeah, I'd have to say that was one of the bigger disappointments I've seen. That, and let's go a little controversial, choosing Brock as the guy to end the Undertaker streak.
Who would you have rather seen to
Kane.
break the... Okay. Because it's brother against brother, or just overall?
Pretty much. That, and I think Glenn Jacobs is getting ready to retire as well, so it would have been appropriate for them to retire together.
Mm-hmm.
This one maybe.
Okay,
I was like, you go, Rick.
I was gonna say I could probably guess the answer to this. However, if there was any wrestler that you could meet, living or dead, who would it be?
Any wrestler I could meet, living or dead.
Yeah.
Owen Hart to say, "Don't look down."
Huh. Well, the obvious answer is The Rock.
Yeah.
Although I did come within feet of The Rock, but because I was working, I wasn't allowed to go up and say, "Hey, Rocky, what's up?"
Hang on, are you allowed to talk about restraining orders on air?
um. I don't know, I'd kind of like to meet Daniel Bryan, just because he's from the area, and he seems like a cool guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think meeting any of the superstars would be kind of cool.
Even John Cena.
Even John Cena. I think it'd be better to actually meet him outside of the ring, where he has actual talent.
Even CM Punk, who tells his fans to fuck off.
What is it about Cena? What is it about Cena that you don't like?
The fact they don't use him properly, and so therefore he can't really show up. It sounds like he has been more recently, but I think that's partly due to the fact that they've basically taken him out of the title picture, so they don't really have to push, the quote 5 moves of doom unquote. So he's been able to do a couple other moves. As Mole's pointed out before, Cena does have talent. Cena can actually wrestle. That he just doesn't because of the way they book him.
And it was a controversial-ish question.
Mm-hmm.
Only because it hasn't been asked enough, and I know it's kind of a bad one to ask, but there's been a load of incidents in WWE TV in which men have beat up women and women have beat up men, and I know it's not allowed in the game and stuff like that, but which is your favourite moment that involved either a diva beating up a guy or a guy beating up a diva, and what made it so shocking or good?
Ooh, I like that question.
That's a good question.
I'm surprised you didn't immediately jump to The Rock telling off John Cena. In his lady parts.
There you go.
I feel like during these awkward silences, there should be some sort of doo 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 as he's thinking.
We should have the technical difficulties.
Yeah. As he's thinking, I will also say to you, Tiff, about your question about why Marcus doesn't like Cena. True story, Marcus Shadow is a little envious of John Cena because Marcus Shadow, he's an inspiring actor, and he also auditioned for the part of Fred's father in Fred the movie, but...
Wow.
Can we see that audition video?
Oh, that's a tough question, Mole.
Well, maybe we should come back to that then.
I'd probably say, well, depending on whether you consider her a woman or not, a lot of the times that China would fight dudes, because, and then also goes into when Lita would fight dudes, because, those were two divas that were basically doing moves that dudes would do, and at the speed and the impact that actual male superstars would do. And so it kind of made sense. Hey, if they're doing it at this level, fuck it, let them go out there and wrestle with the guys. I mean, because they can take the hit and they can deliver the hit, so why not? And personally, at least in terms of the wrestling and the wrestling entertainment, I don't really see what the big deal is with letting the divas and the superstars wrestle together, as long as the divas and the superstars are at the level at which they can do it without really hurting each other. And I think a lot of them could. They just because of the whole well, we don't want the feminists after us and stuff like that, and the whole taboo situation of it, they just don't. But the times that they have, it's worked because they have the skill to do it. And I think it makes for more interesting television, because at that point you really don't know what's going to happen. With the fact that the women can't fight the men, you kind of almost know what's going to happen when you have those kind of situations. It's like, there's no tension there, because for a fact that they can't do anything to each other. I mean, like the diva or the woman can slap the man, sure, but the man can't retaliate. So there's no there's no tension there. There's nothing there making you say, ooh, is he gonna get her back or anything? It's like, well, he can't do anything, so it's almost like, why even bother having her slap him? Because nothing's gonna come of it.
And I could agree with that. And like you said, I'd like to see more of it in the future. Like something like Daniel Bryan v Natalia would work.
Yes.
Or something like that. I wouldn't want to see, I don't know, Brie Bella get F5'd and like Nikki drag her out and do twin magic, or that would be hilarious. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see something like that, or Big Show v fucking one of the, like AJ or something. I don't want to see that. But I wouldn't mind seeing, like, say, Tamina versus, I don't know, Drew McIntyre or something like that.
I do have to say, one of my all-time favorite moments of, well, intergender violence, for lack of a better phrase, has to be 3-minute warning. Like, and specifically, but I think they did them to more than just them, but the one that sticks out of my mind, Mole, I don't know if you remember this, but all I have to do is say 3 letters and you should know. HLA.
Yep.
That was fucking awesome. And hilarious.
Fair enough.
Now, Mole, you've ruined it. I really want to see that now. I want to see Brie get F5 and then pulls twin magic and rolls up Brock. And then he loses. And he gets up and he's all mad and he's like, ah! Or whatever that pterodactyl scream that he does.
Yeah. What does the Brock say? God!
Like, I'm picturing that and it's hilarious.
Imagine if that's how the streak ended.
That would, oh my gosh. Ooh.
I would have accepted that over Brock fucking Lesnar.
If it ended twin magic,
see,
there'd be so much more rage, but that'd be really funny and really inappropriate.
It would be. See, like I mentioned during I think it was during the WrestleMania review, I approve of it being Brock Lesnar because that's the guy Undertaker's mentioned for years. He wanted to end it because he's a fan of him, and I'm like, he's ending his career. It's his right to choose who it is.
Although from what I understand,
wish it'd been a better match.
From what I understand, actually, Taker wasn't the one who chose Brock. It was Vince. Vince is the one that pushed for it. Taker didn't want to do it. That's what I heard anyway.
See, I've heard people say that. Like, I also heard people saying, oh my god, because the music was delayed, Undertaker didn't know it was going to end. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, why didn't he put his shoulder up? And I've heard loads of controversies of that, but it goes all the way back to, like, around the time when Undertaker appeared with, do you want to do it, to Brock at UFC. Undertaker's mentioned on interviews and stuff he wanted Brock to end the streak because he's a big UFC fan.
Fair enough. But yes, anyone else?
Favorite Richter Hammer wrestling related t-shirt?
Huh? Richter Hammer related wrestling t-shirt?
I don't know, there's these silences. I plant seeds. Sometimes they grow like the women's ones. Sometimes they don't, like Richter's t-shirts.
Okay then. I'm surprised Jim has been so silent during this.
Oh, Jim asked you a question before. He mentioned, as a short guy yourself, which short guy do you most relate to?
Very funny.
And it's Nunzio.
Wow, I had forgotten about that guy.
Wasn't he an FBI guy? He was mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He forgot about him. He's like, he didn't matter.
Favorite Diva/Diva team?
Diva team?
Like your favorite Diva and or Diva team.
I already answered the Diva one. That was Trish.
Oh.
But
Oops, sorry, I forgot about that.
Team.
PMS.
I was thinking about PMS.
I'm kidding.
There was an actual team called PMS.
Yeah, yep, Pretty Mean Sisters.
Yeah. With meat.
Oh God. Meat.
Oh, come on. Meat for world champion. Talk about squandered potential.
Oh. No, my favorite Diva team probably would be Beth Phoenix and Natalia. They were an awesome team.
And I'm strong. Fair enough.
Yep, and they even had matching outfits at one point, which were friggin' awesome because they were like matching like black leather outfits. I'm like, yes, that's fucking awesome. And welcome back, Jim.
It was pretty badass.
And you mentioned under shocking moments, it was Owen Hart's death and stuff like that. I will say, what's the most shocking ending to a match? Because that wasn't really an ending to the match because it happened before the bell. The match never happened.
Right.
Why am I being technical about that? He knows exactly what I mean.
I'm pretty sure that was the ending to all his matches.
Oh. Shocking ending to a match.
Yeah, but you've seen like one that the second it happened, you were like, the fuck?
Ooh.
And feel free to say our hypothetical Brock Lesnar roll up after Twin Magic.
You're really pushing that, aren't you?
I figured if we keep mentioning it, they might put it in the game.
It's now trending.
There you go.
Hashtag Brock rollup.
Yep, only WWE will misread that, and next week Brock will start doing his own spinneroonie, thinking that's what they meant by the Brock roll-up.
Oh, good lord.
The Brockaroonie.
Okay then.
Yeah, given his shooting star press, I don't think I want to see him attempt it, but kind of like a train wreck, I kind of want to see him try that.
There you go.
Only because aforementioned pterodactyl will yell at the end of it, which would be great.
I think the way you described that is, I don't really want to see that in wrestling, but it's a complete train wreck. I almost can't look away. Didn't you give that exact quote for the TNA posters?
Gave that to any of Rhino's promos. Or Scott Steiner.
I will say yes to that. Except for one promo of Rhino's, which was kind of fun. I did enjoy his debut on TNA when he mentioned, I never lost the ECW Championship. Therefore, the ECW Championship in fake ECW with the zombie is not the real one. I was like, I kind of respect that.
I don't think I was really shocked by any match outcomes, to be honest. Now that I think about it, there's none that I can remember.
Fair enough. And since Jim's back, did you have another question, Jimmy?
Let's see here.
There's no Wikipedia page for Marcus's questions.
Oh, actually, no.
No.
Here, the shocking ending, because I did not see this coming, and I don't know if it should have happened. Paige winning the Divas title.
Huh, I'm kind of surprised.
I mean, it was cool, but I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, the second they announced the match, I thought it was going to be she was going to take the title. I didn't think they handled it that well, though.
No, they didn't, not at all. But I didn't think she was going to take the title. I mean, if she had actually, fought and wrestled her, then maybe. But the fact that they were doing this as kind of a storyline thing, I was like, nah, they won't take the title off AJ that quick. Not after she just retained it at WrestleMania. That'd be stupid. And then, boom, Paige Turner, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, wait, she just won the title. What?
Have you not been paying attention to WWE in recent years? They constantly do that. Like in the what do you call it, the pre-section, it's like, oh yeah, such and such has won the Intercontinental Championship, loses it next night.
Yep.
Favorite superstar named Maven.
Raven. But yes, Jim, you had a question for me.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Let's see.
Best tuxedo match. That's what he wants to ask.
Now, let's ask this, 'cause I think it is relevant to bring this up. Those of our viewers that I don't know if it was mentioned already in the podcast or not, but for those of you that might not be aware, our good friend Marcus Shadow was actually present at WrestleMania 19.
Yes, I worked
in Seattle. So my question being, what was your favorite part of that? Or what about? I think either your favorite part of the pay-per-view is seeing it live, or what about seeing it live was did you enjoy the most, or just something like that?
Well,
What about that made it special to you? I mean, I don't know
I have to
how
say the
exactly how to phrase it.
highlight of that would probably have to be being like 2 feet away from The Rock.
There you go.
Because he was, when I was going backstage to go back to the locker rooms to go home, I walked past like the WWE locker rooms, and Rock was kind of standing there talking to someone, and like I mentioned earlier, because when I'm like on the clock, or if I'm in uniform, which I was in uniform at the time, it was pretty much against the rules to go up and ask, talk to the other talents, or whoever happened to be there, the players, if the games are playing. And so I couldn't go up to him, and I really wanted to, because I had bought 2 of the programs, one for Richter, one for myself, and like every fiber of my being wanted to go up to him and be like, sign it.
I'm gonna say you're an idiot. You said the rule stated as long as you're in uniform, strip off and go and talk to him. And I can't stop imagining him doing it in a stripper style Velcro, like choom, and the Rock just standing up, hey Rock, will you sign my program?
That would probably get me a what in the blue hell do you think you're doing?
Yeah. Or if you're gonna do that, what you should have done was, when you got your program, you should have just run Bortle Rock T-shirt and put it over your uniform shirt, and then done it.
Take your security code off, turn it inside out.
Exactly.
He does that now. Trending hashtag the People's Tootsie Roll.
But yeah, that whole experience is actually kind of cool, because I obviously had to get there early so I could, because we always get there like an hour before thing starts or whatever, and so I got to see them like putting the set up, and like I got to see Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio on the stage going over their match. Got to see Trish and Stone Cold do some like workout stuff in the ring, and I got to actually see Vince McMahon. I was like basically 2 feet from him, because he was out there going over the logistics with people and stuff like that. So I actually got to see Vince up close, and I'll tell you, man, Grandpa's fucking huge. He's built.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Vince. At least back then. Now he's probably not as much, because back then, of course, he was actually active in the ring. He was actually wrestling matches and stuff. But now not as much. So he's like skinnier. But back then, yeah, dude was fucking built.
What are you doing in that uniform? Get back in your Kai and Tai outfit, or you're fired.
Yeah, but it was really cool seeing a lot of the pre-show stuff, and seeing the superstars and divas actually going over their shit, because no one really ever sees that, and you don't see that unless you work for them.
Right, that's pretty cool.
I think I kind of know the answer to this, but favorite manager of all time, and why did they work as a manager?
Favorite manager of all time. Don't know.
I'm just going to lean on this water cooler, take a sip, and say, so Victor, you and the wife getting up to much this weekend?
Saw a movie.
Oh, was it in 3D? Do you think that 3D technology is going to catch on?
Nah, not at all. It's all about 4K.
I'm now curious, will this be in after he edits? I was just lampooning the fact he's taking a while to think.
The thing is, I would have said Paul Heyman, except everybody he's managed didn't need him. I'm sitting
Rock
here
needs
thinking,
him.
yeah, kind of.
Big Show needs him.
Big Show's a Paul Heyman man?
Back in the day, yeah, I was talking about back in the WWE day when it was, oh my God, Brock can't lift the Big Show. You can't lift the Big Show. And shockingly enough, he lifted the Big Show. But then Paul Heyman turned on him and joined Big Show.
Yeah, I don't think Big Show really need him because Big Show has shown he's got mic skill. Like, Brock is really the only person who just really doesn't have mic skill. But everybody else, even Cesaro, has some modicum of mic skill. I don't think Cesaro needs Paul Heyman as a manager. And it's just like, why, Paul?
I could kind of agree with that.
Because they need another Heyman CM Punk moment.
I'm actually tempted to go with Michael PSA's because he was really good. And they gave him the right team, and that's why he worked so well.
I can see that. Michael Hayes is awesome.
All right, who do you think I was going to go with?
I thought you were going to go with Jim Cornette. That wasn't a joke answer.
Oh.
I was serious. That dude's fucking awesome. Jim Cornette's fucking awesome when you see his like panels and shit. No one likes him, do they? I liked him. I thought he was either going to go Jim Cornette or Paul Heyman.
I have to admit, I was tempted to go with Paul Bearer, but a lot of the Paul Bearer stuff was like, aside from the more recent stuff when he came back for a short stint, most of that was before my time, so yeah.
Yeah, you mean.
Okay, fine.
And I believe Richter asked you favorite Snooki match.
I didn't, but I should.
I'm sorry, Rick. You go.
Me v. Snooki in the bedroom.
Followed up by a visit to the clinic.
I was wondering when this interview was going to turn in a direction.
Well, going in that direction, favorite chocolate pudding match?
So Stephanie McMahon, would you?
Stephanie McMahon?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Would you do Stephanie McMahon if you knew Triple H would find out and likely give you grievous bodily harm?
Bodily?
Grievous bodily harm.
Only if she agreed to it, because I know she could probably stop him.
Oh, come on. It's a lot more fun when they don't agree. You saying that is putting out the hard-working people who make roofies out of business.
And what if you knew that when she stopped him, Vince was going to hit you with a chair from behind?
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Vince would never stop me. He subscribes to the Eric Bischoff business model. Controversy creates cash.
Apparently, except when it involves her fucking Macho Man.
That's not controversy. That's jailbait.
Oh
yeah. So does anybody have any other questions for Marcus Shadow?
I would say favorite wrestling-related podcast or video that we've recorded for the X-Band.
That we've recorded for the X.
That's a good one.
Well, by we, I mean you.
Yeah.
No, because he also did standalone ones too, so it could be one of them.
We are Legion.
Back before Jim, Chris Benoit, all of our previous standalone careers.
Standalone careers? What are you talking about?
I'd probably have to give the same answer I gave on the awards. I can't remember if it was this year's awards or last year's awards. And I'd have to say the first WXR, just because I loved the organic feel of the conversation and where it went, and the fact that it spiraled into the next episode.
I like that as well.
And look at where it led us now. 20 to 30-second gaps of silence.
That's how we roll.
Yep, but that's only during the thinking portions.
True. Let me throw this at you.
You will not throw that at him. You sick? You're not a monkey.
Nah. Anyway. No, I'm not a monkey, but I know an Ayatollah rock and roller who knows where to get some. Anyway, I was gonna say, favorite. I guess the best way to phrase this would be favorite appearance or, yeah, I was say favorite appearance or project of a wrestler outside of a wrestling company, or outside of a wrestling, I guess, ring or program, I guess. And like the Rock's movies, Roddy Piper in that movie with the bubble gum, Hulk Hogan's Santa with muscles, or any of the Big Show appearing on Psych, any of that sort of thing.
Wow, that's a good question, actually.
It's obvious he's going to say Triple H in Blade 3.
Oh God.
He's going to say he can't say it yet because he hasn't seen Leprechaun Origins starring Hornswoggle yet.
I have to say one of the ones I really liked was Undertaker in, was it Poltergeist, the TV show, I think?
Yeah, Poltergeist Legacy, I think it was called.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. My only disappointment is I wish they had made his character a little bit more original, because it was basically Undertaker with more makeup. But it was still awesome because since they made him kind of like the Undertaker, it wasn't a stretch for Mark Calloway to actually play the part, and he did it very well. And God, that part was creepy. I mean, even creepier than the Undertaker. So I really liked that. I liked his look too.
I thought he was a Super Shredder.
Yeah, really.
Yes, Super Shredder. I had forgotten about that. Yes. Well, even though you didn't know it was him until you read the credits, yes, that was fucking awesome.
And even if you read the credits, you didn't know it was him. Wasn't his name misspelled or something?
Was it? I don't know. I didn't actually read the credits.
How did you know it was him? You just said I didn't know until I read the... mind fuck.
Logic blown.
It's called the interwebs, people.
It didn't exist back then.
I didn't know back then. Of course, back then I didn't.
You're still lying.
Of course, back then I didn't know who Kevin Nash was anyway, so I didn't watch WCW.
You didn't get into WCW, Richter? You're terrible.
1, Diesel, but 2, you said someone in your lounge kept turning over to WCW. You must have caught him once. His ego's all over it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Him and Hogan, at one point, unfortunately.
This is true.
Although, admittedly, he was dressed like Shredder. It's hardly like you're going to recognize him. Like, oh, yeah, that's exactly what Kevin Nash would look like if he was dressed as Shredder standing up on a superimposed background with Ninja Turtles. Of course.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, slightly off topic, I will say one of my favourite things with Nash was I loved him bursting through the closet on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I don't know if anyone remembers that. I fucking loved that.
Never actually saw that show.
You've been denied, my friend. Talking cat. I rest my case.
Yeah, I know the concept of the show, but yeah, Super Shredder, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask one final question because I think we're getting ready to wrap it up from Richter asking for his final question before.
Yep.
I will say, since you've got the WWE Network, what's been your favourite part of getting that network?
Oh.
I'm keeping it current, kids. Keeping it current.
Ding!
What was your favorite part before it disbanded? No, I'm kidding.
So far, I'd have to say the best part about it is WrestleMania for $10. Since they decided to not offer the other big reason I bought the network and not tell anybody.
No, you didn't bother to read the fine print of why they offer the network.
Yeah, I mentioned that to you before you got the preview. Or before you got the free trial week.
What did he miss?
The fact they're not doing Raw until like 30 days after it airs because of the rights on the fact it airs on USA Network and they use replays and stuff, so it hurt their ratings. So they've got in the contract where they can't show it for 30 days. Also because of I think it's also on Hulu Plus or something.
Okay.
Which does kind of suck.
Indeed.
Now he'll never catch Total Divas. I may be the majority here. I actually kind of want to watch it. Until I realised how fake it was with the fact they're now using it to build up storylines.
Yeah.
It's WWE. They use everything to build up a storyline. Everything is a storyline potential to them.
Pretty much.
Like, I'm surprised they didn't use, like, Star Trek or Poltergeist to build up storylines.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, I think we can safely conclude the interview of X-Pound's own Marcus Shadow.
Is it now the karaoke portion?
Yes. We will now all sing, except for Jim, Cult of Personality.
Oh, I thought we were going to get Marcus Shadow to sing all the things she said.
So I'd like to thank all my guests for joining me today. And I hope everyone enjoyed listening to this and learning some more about Marcus Shadow. We will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, kids.
Bye, everybody.
And see, I'm keeping things fresh and real and modern. I can relate to the kids with their angry chickens on the eye pips or whatever it's called.
Their flappy craft and whatever.
Yeah.
Shadow?